Hi, friends. You are listening to Drop It Like It's Doc podcast. I am Dr. De Luna, your favorite spicy doctor, educator, and yogi. And today, you are going to learn the 10 things that I wouldn't put in this mouth. All right, fam, I hope that you are just as excited as I am to learn this layer about me, because this whole episode was inspired by things that I will not put in or around my mouth. And we're going to start from kind of the more obvious things to a little surprise at the end. So you're definitely going to want to listen to this whole episode. So first and foremost, I am appalled by what is in the water. I am really appalled by what is in the water. If you are not appalled by what is in the water, that just tells me that you have not looked at what is in your water. So what you need to do right now, well, maybe after this episode, is go to the Environmental Working Group's website, look up what's in your tap water, and it will show you all of the contaminants in the water. I've done this for many different cities in the United States, and there are some cities where the water is almost palatable, or it is not poisonous, I shall say. However, many areas of this country have very contaminated water. And I don't know if you've ever considered what you may be consuming in this water that you are then drinking on a regular basis. You are washing your body with it. You are cleaning your food with it. You are, feeding it to your dogs. You're drinking tea with it. Like, this water is integrating into your body. So, some things that may be in your tap water, you ask? First and foremost, you may be drinking lots of pharmaceutical drugs, because you put a drug in your mouth, right? Whether this is birth control or antidepressants or painkillers, whatever it is, you put it in your mouth, you swallow it, and that pharmaceutical drug is absorbed into your bloodstream. It goes everywhere, and then your body doesn't want to keep it in there forever, so it clears it out. Clears it out either in your pee or in your poop. Water soluble, it's going out your pee. Fat soluble, it's going out your poop. And that, of course, I hope you're doing this in a toilet, right? And you flush it and it goes down. Have you ever been to a water treatment plant? I have. I was in high school. And really, to get water from the toilet to the faucet is not much at all. And of course, they're filtering it, they're cleaning it in some way, shape, or form. But I can tell you that a lot of what is in the water is very small, and it is challenging to get it out to have clean water in which you are not getting slowly toxified with each little sippy. So me and tap water, absolutely not. Hard no. I'm the girl that even goes to coffee shops, especially here in Southern California, where the water is some of the worst I have ever seen. I will only go to coffee shops in which they have filtered water, because this body deserves the world. So I'm not telling you to drink plastic water bottles, because in fact, that is a hard no. I won't even put that in my mouth. And that is because water is a solvent, right? So anything that it is touching has the potential to be absorbed and integrated into water structure. The structure of water actually talks to the structure of your cells. So depending what is in the water will change the water molecule itself and can change your entire electrochemical gradient within your body. And if you have never seen the different types of research studies that have gone on in which individuals put intention into water and it changes the molecular structure, I invite you to nerd out and get inspired and look at that, because water truly is a messenger for our bodies. And if we are circulating around these toxins that are in the water, that is the message in which we will receive. So clean water, first and foremost, super important. I will give you little blurbs as far as things that you could do instead, but really this whole episode are things that I ain't putting in my mouth. So glass water bottles, filtered water, much better choices than tap or plastic. And truly, if you're drinking tap water, just stop. If you did nothing else but stop drinking tap water and drinking high quality water, your whole health will change. Your kidneys will be so happy. Okay, that's enough about water. Ready for me to talk shit about the food? So, if you eat a standard American diet, you will get standard American diseases. A lot of the illnesses that are present in this country, they just don't exist in other countries. And that is because some of the food here is truly illegal in other countries. Not the food. It's not like a carrot is illegal in Italy. It is what we put on the foods here that make them illegal in other countries, because truly, my baby is poison, and we're aware that it's poison, but for some reason, the government keeps allowing us to spray it on our food. I wonder why. If you find out, let me know. Just kidding. We know, right? But our foods, if you look at the label on a food, it has a little code on it, a little barcode. If it starts with 9, that is organic. And that is what I would prefer. Yes, I know some of you are sitting there being like, organic isn't real. It's definitely a step in the right direction, okay? At least the farmers care a little bit about what they're putting on their foods. Yes, of course, you could pay for the labeling, blah, 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 blah. But for all intents and purposes, let's trust that organic is organic. However, if on that sticker it starts with a 4 or an 8, it is either conventional or genetically modified. Have you ever thought about what genetic modification is? That is truly where individuals have changed the DNA of a food. DNA, what DNA does, it encodes different proteins. Your body has all of these different molecular compounds that can turn genes on and off, and those genes will create different proteins. So if you genetically modify a food, it might look the same, but at a cellular base, it is very different. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent. They truly take everything in the blood as a message. And if there's something that is genetically modified in there, your immune system can be highly, highly confused because we evolved with food. We evolved with clean water. We didn't evolve with all these chemicals. So your immune system can easily be triggered by something that has a different molecular structure. So this is actually one of the biggest things that goes on with wheat. So wheat is genetically modified to such a degree that your immune system does not even recognize it as food anymore. So I personally do not eat gluten. I was born and raised in New York, and you bet I was raised on bagels and pizza. I love them so much. But you know what I don't like? I don't like the way that gluten makes me feel. And the reason why gluten has been so genetically modified is because once it has been genetically modified, it can actually withstand the insane levels of pesticides that are sprayed on it. So food has its own immune system, and it has a way of protecting itself, and to genetically modify it will make it so it's more able to handle poison. So the plant will not die, so that it can grow, and it might look like a beautiful, piece of, I keep saying carrots, I don't know why, but it could look like this gorgeous orange carrot, but really it is just loaded with all of these toxins that's been genetically modified to withstand it. Because think about it, the poison that is sprayed is the same poison that influences your body. All pesticides, herbicides, they influence the nervous system. So they are going against pests. Pests are, anything that can impact that crop, that can eat it. And what happens is that when these organisms are sprayed with poison, it goes into their nervous system. It makes their nervous system do all sorts of crazy stuff. And then it will ultimately kill that pest so that the food is not being eaten and it can grow to a ridiculously large size and feed you. But the poison didn't go anywhere. The poison's still there. Guess what? You have a very similar nervous system to that of a fly. Quite similar. We are so similar to every other organism on this planet, but we think that we are so different, and we think that these things don't influence us. But I promise you, the same electrochemical changes, the same changes in the nervous system are happening on a small scale in you. And we have something called bioaccumulation, meaning that our bodies are incredible, right? I remind you of this of every episode, that your body is so smart and it wants the best for you. But do you want the best for you? So you'll consume these foods that are laden with poison. And, your body's going to do its best to clean them up, clear it out, and you're going to feel good. But there's going to be a certain time in your life where the poison and the toxic load is going to reach a certain amount in which symptoms present. This can be, mental health disturbances. It could be brain fog. It could be seizures. I've seen so many things with the root cause in toxicity. So I invite you, if you have not been convinced to go organic yet, I think it's a great idea. I really do, babies. I think it's a fabulous idea because all of those genetically modified crops, and we were talking about wheat, right? Why is there so much wheat? Why? Why? Is everyone just baking bread all day? No, this wheat is going to our animals and our poor sick animals. So, number 3. What your girl will not put in her mouth. I'm not putting any conventional animal products in this gorgeous mouth of mine. And that is because these animals, they are fed conventional poison, essentially. They are fed lots of grains. The reason why wheat has been genetically modified in such a way is because it's grown on such a large scale. Same with corn, same with a lot of these grains that are cheap and can be grown in abundance because they can feed our animals and make them nice and fat. Make them nice and plumpity plump. So these animals then have that same bioaccumulation, right? So they're eating these grains and it's slowly building up in their body. When you eat something, it doesn't just stay in your gut. It goes into systemic circulation, which means that it can deposit into your tissues. So fat-soluble toxins will get stored in fat. So if you eat an animal that has fat-soluble toxins, which I promise you, if it is a conventionally raised animal, they have fat-soluble toxins. It is in their fat. You are eating them every time you eat that delicious bacon, egg, and cheese. You are just loading yourself up with toxins. I love bacon. Just fun fact. Fucking love it. But you need to consider that you are an animal. So you are what you eat. Again, you are what you eat. So if you are consuming animals that were loaded with toxins, and I'm not just talking about the pesticides and herbicides and chemical fertilizers on the plants and the grains in which they ate, I am also talking about the things that are directly fed to these animals. So because standard American diets lead to standard American diseases, these same diseases are in animals. Animals shouldn't have heart disease. They shouldn't have cancer. They shouldn't have all these inflammatory conditions that are now just rampant, and they do. So as a result, these animals are given lots of drugs at a low grade. So they're given growth hormones to help them get larger. Those same hormones act in you. They act in you. So they could be contributing to weight gain, to obesity, inflammation, things like that. But also these animals, they're given a lot of low-grade levels of antibiotics because they're sick. And sick animals are really able to pick up pathogens. And I think that we've spoken to this in some level, that it's not necessarily an organism that gets you sick. It's the environment that allows an organism to seed and take hold. And in these sick animals, they are creating the perfect environment for a lot of interesting microbial patterns, a lot of parasites, a lot of just things that we don't want, things that we do not want to integrate into our bodies. So I'm a big fan of grass-fed and grass-finished animals. This is because animals actually eat grass. Isn't that mind-blowing to you? They used to go around outside. They used to graze around the prairie, nibbies on grass, and get so strong. And that would help them. That would have a very different protein structure than what we're seeing in our animals today. So again, everything that we eat becomes part of our structure. So an animal that is fed grass is very different than an animal that was fed corn, because that animal that was fed corn is going to have significantly more inflammation. And structurally, they will hold many more omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 fatty acids. Fatty acids and omegas, what they do is they create different chemical signals in the body. So omega-6 fatty acids, just in a big, broad way of looking at this, they create significant inflammation in the body. Just think of inflammation as anything loud. Inflammation can show up as joint pain, headaches, gut symptoms, systemic issues, or it can be something really localized and small. But that is what omega-6 fatty acids do. They create more of that inflammatory signal, and you won't feel as well. Omega-3 fatty acids, this is why supplements like fish oil are really big, because they flip the switch. They're actually very anti-inflammatory. And just a fun little truth bomb that I'm going to throw out here: fish oil is more effective than NSAIDs at treating period cramps, and that is because of how anti-inflammatory they are. And period cramps are quite inflammatory. So if you wanted to revisit that truth bomb, you need to subscribe and listen to this channel, because I have quite a few episodes on hormones and periods before this bad boy. So this goes for eggs too. This goes for cheese. This goes for anything that comes from an animal, because that animal, you were either eating its flesh or you were eating something that it made. And your body is a reflection of what you put in your mouth, what you digest, what you absorb. So I don't know about you, but I want a perfect body that is healthy and glowing and full of anti-inflammatory fat. So I would maybe go on like a grass-fed beef tour, just try out your local restaurants. You will notice a difference as well. And for people that eat red meat and tell me that it doesn't feel good in their body or it's hard to digest, I wonder if it's because that piece of meat is so inflammatory, or if it's truly that their body does not like red meat. Just something to throw out there. Same with wheat, right? Are you actually reacting to the wheat? Or are you reacting to the chemicals that are on the wheat? Or are you reacting to the genetic modifications of the wheat? And I could throw anything out there and say that. So while I'm talking about these conventional foods, I think it's also super important, my vegans, to realize that if you're a vegan, it's because you love the earth, right? You love animals, you love plants. You should be eating plants. You shouldn't be eating things that were made in a plant. See what I did there? Because things that were made in a factory are so far from their starting point. And a lot of these things that I'm not putting in my mouth, the reason why I'm not putting them in my mouth is because my immune system goes, what the fuck is this? And if your immune system doesn't know what something is, inflammation and symptoms will follow. And again, friends, this could be symptoms anywhere in your body, from your gut to your joints to mental health. Anything. So if you are someone that loves Oatly or loves nut milks or loves your Beyond Burgers, I am so sorry if you didn't know that then. It is extremely unhealthy. Those are not healthy for you. I would rather you eat vegetables, grains, and legumes than have something that your body is not sure is food, right? We didn't evolve with fake meat. And also, truth bomb babies, if you are craving meat to the point that you want to get a fake burger that bleeds because it fills some void in you, you need to listen to your body. You probably need to eat meat and you're probably iron deficient. I will go for a steak with you any day, anytime. My favorite food is brisket. I am salivating. I also love ribs and bacon. So something else that I don't like about these nut milks and just really, really processed foods, these standard American foods that, go into a grocery store, most of the food there is processed. It's in a package. They have so many additives in them. And also they are usually, and I'm speaking more so I suppose to like the vegan cheeses and vegan milks and all the different burgers and things that they make, they often have to have binders added to them. Things like xanthan gum and all of those different gums and binders. Your immune system doesn't always like those. So they can cause inflammation. So if you get your cute little oat milk latte and you drink it and you get really gassy or uncomfortable, it was probably the oat milk. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. Food for thought, literally and truly. Food for thought. So what else wouldn't I put in my mouth? I think we covered the food pretty well there, right? But next, what else wouldn't I put in my mouth? I would not put anything in my mouth that I didn't want to go into systemic circulation. So first of all, if you didn't know, I'm kind of a hippie, right? And hippie, I feel like gets a bad rep because hippies are just people that are connected to the earth. And I am very aware that a lot of these things just don't feel good for me. So if that's the word I'm going to use to describe myself, that works. But when you go to the health food store, they have products of everything, right? Like they have toothpaste, they have deodorants, they have mouthwashes, and they're all very different than one that you would find in like a Target or a CVS. So most toothpastes, they have a lot of chemicals in them, and they also have fluoride added to them. So fluoride is something that the dental industry and the American Medical Association told us was something that would benefit us, but really all it does is cause inflammation, and it calcifies your sweet little pineal gland in your brain that is kind of like your third eye, and that helps you tap in to other things around you. So, I wonder why that's in our food and in our water and in our toothpaste. Wonder why. Who's to say? But I don't use that at all. I use options that are made from things that make sense. And just in general, familia, look at the back of everything that you are putting in your mouth. Any ingredient list, if you don't know something on there, know that your immune system might not know it either. And it could be causing symptoms. It could be far-reaching symptoms. We're out of the gut. We're out of the gut. Even though it's going in your mouth and out the other end, hopefully, it's going everywhere. So just be mindful of that. Next thing that I would not put in my mouth goes along with toothpaste, but I would not use mouthwash. Know that if you have terrible breath, it's because you have a microbial imbalance in your mouth. So we have both good bacteria and bad bacteria everywhere. And I don't even necessarily like the words good and bad because everything is relative, but we have some bacteria that are helping us, and we have some that when they overgrow can lead to different signs and symptoms. And when you use mouthwash, you knock them all out. Your mouth is the first part of your digestive system, so that has influences down the entire tract, down your esophagus, down your stomach, and everything. So the dysbiosis, or altered microbial environment, truly can start in the mouth. Some bacteria, and again, this is why we don't need to be obsessed with being clean. If you use hand sanitizer, I would definitely stop. I don't put that in my mouth, but that's a story for another day. But if you are trying to kill everything, trying to be ultra sterile, ultra clean, you're kind of messing the boat a little bit, because we coexist with these microorganisms and they help us with so many things. And the microorganisms in your mouth, they actually help synthesize something called nitrous oxide. Not the kind that you like to inhale and turn into a blue fish and flippity-floppity around. I can't believe that people do that for fun, by the way. That is mind-blowing to me. But the kind that you need to actually dilate your blood vessels. So So many studies have come out that people that use mouthwash are actually at an increased risk for heart disease, stroke, hypertension, because nitric oxide makes your blood vessels big. So if your blood vessels are small and constricted and contracted, that's more pressure. That's increased blood pressure. That is less room for the blood to flow, which can increase risk of things like heart disease and whatnot. So I love working on oral health because that truly changes the game for heart disease, metabolic health, hormones, everything that follows. And it's a huge, huge, huge window into the gut. So if your partner tells you that your breath stinks in the morning, you probably have dysbiosis, a microbial imbalance that's not going to be cured by swishing around some, weird taste in mouthwash. Is going to work by finding the root cause, getting to that root, balancing your ecosystem. And you're not going to stink anymore, honey. You're just not going to stink. Would not put that in my mouth. Other things that I would not put in my mouth. I would not put a root canal in my mouth. I wouldn't do it. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't do it though. So if you have been told by your dentist that you have no other choice but to get a root canal, know that there is a lot of information out there showing that root canals can lead to significant health decay in the future, because root canals, they are so deep within the mouth that they can create these little pockets where there's not much oxygen, and where the bacteria that created that infection, if there's any there at all, they can grow, and they can create low-grade chronic inflammatory reactions in your mouth the whole time that it exists there. So if you have a root canal, I would consider visiting with a holistic dentist who can take a deep look into your mouth to see if there's any areas of cavitation, any areas of microbial growth. Things like to hide. Infections like to hide. And I find that infections hide a lot in the mouth. So I would not get a root canal, and I would also not get traditional fillings. I am so grateful for holistic dentists because they are aware that you can heal these things. You can heal cavities. You can get more enamel on your teeth. You can change the microbial imbalance of your mouth. And they can do all of these things with a root cause approach rather than just filling your mouth with mercury. Because if you have mercury fillings, my babies, it's not just staying in your mouth. It's slowly releasing to your sweet little brain. Just a thought. Know that I'm a human and I've had a lot of these things, but now with my education, I am learning. We're learning, right? So if you are somewhere on your journey and if this whole list has been a trigger fest, just know that at one point in time, it was a trigger fest for me too. And you're doing a great job at listening and not having a panic attack, okay? So this information is going to help you in the future. So as we get out of the mouth, I also would not put anything in my mouth that I didn't want to go systemically. So I'm a naturopathic doctor, right? I so believe in my medicine. And naturopathic medicine is rooted in this deep belief that we have everything that we need, that the body can heal itself, that the earth is perfect, and that the earth gave us everything that we need to heal. Trust me, I am beyond grateful for emergency medicine. I am very grateful for Western medicine and its ability to save lives and treat things in a way that we didn't previously. But for me, I like to start with what the body is asking for, because symptoms really are a way that the body tries to get your attention. And pharmaceuticals are powerful. They are powerful for better or for worse. So they can silence a lot. So I don't take pharmaceuticals because they typically will silence something and it will push that symptom, that pattern a little bit deeper. Know that pharmaceuticals, while they are phenomenal at targeting something, they're terrible at not targeting other things. So side effects aren't necessarily side effects. They're just ways that the drug works that aren't on the label. So also these drugs, these pharmaceuticals, usually they're compounded and pressed, these pills, with different adjuvants, with different things that make the drug work a little bit better, or different compounds. Some of them have gluten in them. So if you are gluten intolerant or have celiac, you need to make sure that your medications don't have gluten, because they might. They also might have different food dyes, different food additives. I didn't even talk about that when I was talking about conventional and processed food, but do we need our food to be blue? I mean, if it's blue naturally, that's one thing, but like food coloring and food dye is not great. Your immune system has no idea what those are. Those will trigger lots of systemic inflammation. But same thing with the pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are powerful, and the organs of elimination, which are your liver and your kidneys, your skin, your lungs, they have to work hard to push all of that out. So if you need to be taking a pharmaceutical to be supporting your body, I fully support you in listening to that and showing up for yourself. But if you're someone that's like, oh, my head kind of hurts today. I'm just going to take some Tylenol. I would maybe consider that is something that every cell in your body is now working hard to manage, to balance, to clear out. So personally, while I say I wouldn't put them in my mouth, if I had to, I would. But I was even talking about this with my producer before. It's like at the bottom of my list. I would try so many other things first because this body is perfect and she knows what she's doing. And I listen to her. I really do. We're already on number 9 of things that I would not put in my mouth. Have you ever considered that your skin is kind of like a mouth? It is. So your skin absorbs everything. Your skin, anything fat soluble or even water soluble, but your skin has a lot of fat in it. If it's laid on your skin, it soaks up into the subcutaneous fat layer. Below the subcutaneous fat, just meaning right below your skin, there is an abundance of blood vessels. So it just right into the blood and goes everywhere. Have you ever put something on your skin and then tasted it? Have you ever had a colonic and then tasted something? Everything, your body is like this big bucket with these little barriers, these little filters, and things can pass through, kind of like Osmosis Jones, and just these different cavities. And anything that you put on your skin is going everywhere. So I'm considering your skin like a mouth. And I say this to my patients all the time. Do not put anything on your skin that you would not eat. How many individuals put makeup on their face that they wouldn't eat? Put all these weird creams and potions and things on their skin that they would not eat. And I ask you why, because you are eating them. They're going into systemic circulation. They're filling that toxic bucket. And at a certain point, the bucket's going to overflow and you're going to have fibromyalgia. Just kidding. You're not going to have fibromyalgia, but I see that all the time. I find that fibromyalgia is a direct result of toxic load. And think about it. If you're someone with fibromyalgia, are you a woman? Are you a female? Are you someone that used to do a lot of hair dye, a lot of beauty products, self-tanner? All of these things have so many toxins in them. And I wish that I didn't feel this way, honeys. I wish I didn't, but I did. And it's my job to educate you on all the things that I've learned along my journey. So for instance, I would not put anything with a fragrance on my skin. Fragrance are chemicals. They make it smell good, but it doesn't serve you in any other way other than that. So anything that you flip on the back and it has a fragrance on it, I would just go ahead and throw it out, because the fragrance is actually made with a very highly reactive chemical that, again, is systemically going everywhere. And this can influence things to your hormones, to your neurotransmitters, to your periods, to your gut health, everything. So I want to keep reminding you that it's going everywhere. Your blood flows everywhere. It definitely should. Definitely should. So I would recommend putting something on your skin like a natural oil. I'm a big fan of like beef tallow too. Nice and savvy. Your body likes things that it's used to. And unfortunately, a lot of the things that we've been exposed to, we are not used to, which is probably why this country has a lot of standard American diseases. Woo! Go America! Wow, are you ready for the finale of things that I would not put in my mouth? Because so far, everything's been pretty normal, right? Like, I'm not going to eat toxic food. I'm not going to drink toxic water. I'm going to be mindful about the pharmaceuticals and things that I put on my mouth, the self-care products that I use, the toothpaste, the mouthwash. All of that probably makes sense, right? I wouldn't put a butthole in my mouth. I would not. I repeat, to all of you that are fantasizing about me doing that to you, I'm not going to do it. Why? I'm a scientist. I am a scientist. So many things are passed through the bowels. So many fat-soluble toxins are passed on out of there, undigested food. Know that in your colon, that's where most of your bacteria live. That's where they live because they're doing their job in there. Guess where your poop comes out of? The end of your colon. It is a bacterial playground down there. You know what else it's a playground for? Have you watched my Itchy Itchy Bonbon episode? This is a playground for parasitos. So if you're someone, like, if you're licking buttholes, just give yourself a break around the week of the full moon. Because I kid you not, I have not met one person who told me they had an itchy butt who did not have a parasite. Haven't met one. If you're that person, let me buy you a parasite cleanse because I promise you, you have a parasite. But around the full moon, that's typically when these critters pass, and they could be big, they could be small, they could be microscopic. So you could be like, doctor, you're literally fucking insane. And yeah, I might be. That's fine. Remember, I don't care if you think I'm crazy because I believe everything that I say. But if you have felt that in your body, or even if you haven't, and if you just have any of the signs and symptoms of parasites that I talked about in my Ichi Banban episode, then no, you could have a parasite, know that it's coming out of your butt, and know that whoever licks that now has parasites. Congratulations. Not to even mention the other fun sexually transmitted diseases that can be around your butthole. Not a fan. So I'm also a huge fan of safe sex. I'm also a huge fan of consensual sex, of knowing what your partner's gotten into, because remember, your mouth is the start of your entire digestive system. What goes in your mouth doesn't stay in your mouth. You have blood vessels in your mouth, in your esophagus, in your stomach, and your whole digestive system that are just slurping all these compounds from the food, from people's butts, into your systemic circulation. And they will have an impact because chemicals are powerful stimulators. They are powerful communicators. So if you can think of something that you don't think I would put in my mouth, I want you to put it in the comments below. If you are curious if I would put something in my mouth or not, I want you to help me ponder it in the comments below. I hope that you found this episode both highly entertaining, mildly nauseating, and educational, because it really is something that I'm not a fan of when I have to chat with humans that I love about just the reality of what we are exposed to on a daily basis. But it is one of my favorite things to do to remind them of the power that they hold over choosing clean water, choosing clean food, healthy food, supporting companies that aren't utilizing lots of chemicals that can influence your body in negative ways. Because we do have this power, but we have to make the choices and we have to feel empowered in making those choices. And part of that choice is realizing what the negative impacts of these things are doing. And again, I invite you to consider that we are one of the sickest countries in the world, and we are also highly developed. And it's not because of anything other than what we are choosing to put into our bodies. So you are someone with any chronic illness, anything inflammatory, and this could be something as simple as brain fog. It could be something as simple as just not feeling like yourself, joint pain, fatigue. I want you to consider what you're putting in your body every day, because these can have huge implications. Once you start to drain that bucket of all the toxins that are in there, your physiology can come back to baseline. And as a reminder, your baseline is health. So if you are not in a healthy place, please know that you do have tools, you do have choices, but they take you putting yourself first and you choosing yourself first. And sometimes that might make you feel like the black sheep. It might. I definitely do. In a lot of situations, I bring my own water everywhere. Like when I drive across this country, because I'm from New York and my dogs are old and I have to drive them across the country because I'm the best mother ever, I bring glass jugs of water that I refill. I only stop at health conscious restaurants. Of course, it takes extra effort, but this body is worth it. So honeys, I really do look forward to you asking me what I would put in my mouth in the comments. So please don't forget to do that. If you found this helpful in the slightest, please share it with someone that you know will find this entertaining. Maybe someone that loves to lick buttholes. Maybe send this to them. I think they'll love it. Like, subscribe, share, turn your notifications on, because this is just the beginning. I cannot wait to share even more with you. Thanks for tuning in. I love you so much.